Welcome back to another episode of the Offer Mojo Show, where we talk all about crafting, scaling, marketing, and selling aligned and profitable offers. Today, we are going to have a little bit of a different kind of conversation. More often than not, I do a kind of educational, sometimes behind the scenes of my own business. But today, I have Mallika Malhotra with us. She was a guest on my podcast last year, and we became like fast Biz Besties back in the fall. And I thought it would be great to have her on the podcast today to talk about something that is going on. And that is, obviously AI, but in a much more nuanced way. So this episode is really going to be like two Biz Besties who have been collaborating with each other for nearly 6, 7 months. And yeah, it's going to be just a conversation about behind the scenes of our business and how we are navigating the AI world. So, to give you a little bit more context for Mallika, Mallika is a brand strategist. She is the founder of the company called The Brand CEO. And to be honest with you, I don't even know how we met before, but somehow we connected at the time. Actually, we connected kind of when I first was building one of my first offers. And I remember you telling me you need to ditch that offer and you need to build that offer so that it's like AI driven, and that, has a framework and all of that kind of stuff. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, you are so right. Courses are gone. I had built this offer with a video course type platform, in the background, and it was just outdated. Mallika was few steps, maybe 10 steps ahead of me when it came to like the AI world, and she encouraged me to really lean into AI. I'd already been experimenting with it, but I hadn't built my offer based on AI. And I started with the AI powered offer confidence tool, which was my lead magnet. It was like, okay, this will be the first test that I will do for public facing AI. And it's turned out, oh my God, like amazingly well. So that's how we got connected. And then what happened is we both started building our AI powered team of assistants. Okay. So Mallika's team is the Brand Force. And it is a team of 5 AI assistants that, and I'm going to let you explain this a little bit more, but I'm just giving context. And my AI team was the Offer Mojo Squad, which is a team of 6 AI offer assistants. So this is where we're going to start on our journey. We're going to talk about like what it was like to build these AI teams and what happened through the launch process and what we're facing today. And we're just going to move the conversation forward to March 2026 and what's happening in our businesses with AI. So why don't you start, Mallika, and explain a little bit about, I guess, the process you went through when you were building the Brand Force. Like what made you decide to do that? And like, what was the process like for you?
Sure. So first, thank you for having me back. I'm like a little embarrassed how bold I was to tell you, the offer magician, that her offer wasn't good and that she should be thinking about AI. And you're still friends with me to this date. So, wow.
No,
But I
it's
kind of
fine. It
remember.
was totally the right thing to do, and I'm so glad because I refined my aligned offer accelerator, which is how it started, into the Offer Mojo Studio, and my Offer Mojo Studio offer is fire. Like
Right.
it is working so well for my clients. So it was absolutely a bold brand strategist move for you to do, and I'm grateful for it. So
Well, I think it all for me, it was looking at the trends of what was happening in the marketplace. And
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned, seeing how online learning was changing
Right.
and looking at my own offers. I had memberships and I had masterminds, and how things were slightly changing.
Sure.
People weren't paying or investing their time and energy as much because this new tool called AI, ChatGPT or Claude, had entered the marketplace and was, offering people tools and feedback in a much faster and quicker way, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
though it was still the Wild West and no one really
Right.
knew how to use it.
Right.
So, in 2024, I kind of was learning and hearing about AI. I was reevaluating the offers I had on the table. I was
Mm-hmm.
going through a big move at the time. I was moving from the state of Maine to the state of Texas. My whole life was being upheavaled. So I really wanted to be intentional and smart about what I was going to sell and offer to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And with the AI movement, I started to really dive deeper on what is this? How can I use it internally in my business to
Right.
be quicker, smarter, more efficient? But also, is there an opportunity to be one of the first brand strategists that
Mm-hmm.
creates a product using AI,
Sure.
since I already had all of these frameworks that were proven methods, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So back in 2024, when I was going through this move and I was pulling back from all of those masterminds and memberships, I spent a lot of time learning. And I
Right.
have to credit one of my mentors, Wendy Breakstone, who was the one who really taught me about AI bots and how to
Mm-hmm.
create these chat GPTs and all of that.
Right.
And, started to create some things, and then I started to test it in my own business. But I saw that there was an opportunity here. I am a brand strategist and mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the way I work with my clients now is one on one. But how many
Sure.
clients can you work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
As much as I love that work and I'll
Yes.
never walk away from it, I also needed something that I could sell from the podcast stage, from the speaking stage, from the
Right.
summit. And I didn't have it. And so, thinking about AI, thinking about what I've already created after 20 years of
Right.
being an entrepreneur, what could I use and use this momentum of AI to create a product that now would help me scale my business
Sure.
in a new way?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that was kind of that whirlwind that I put myself into, and obviously pulled you in it with me.
Which I'm so grateful for.
But
Yeah.
I actually started with one tool before
Yes.
the
I
brand
remember it was
force.
Lumi, right?
It was Lumi. So I picked one tool. So I asked myself, what is the question and the problem that I see most in my audience, in my community? And it was
Mm-hmm.
always, how do I articulate my value?
Okay.
Help me stand out and communicate clearly what I do.
Right.
So I learned AI and I created this tool based on my framework. And I said, let's start with one tool. Let me see how the marketplace accepts it. Does it do well?
Mm-hmm.
Is it help people? Does it actually work? Do people understand it?
Right.
And this was in February of 2025. So I
Okay.
had spent fall of 2024 learning, reading all of the things. And then I created this Lumi tool, tested it, and you know what the testing is like. It
Yes.
doesn't take a day, it's weeks.
Yes.
And then had the courage, because we're not programmers. We're
Right.
normal
Exactly.
people, who launch businesses. And
We're strategists. We're not
we're
like
strategists, yes. And so part of me had this imposter syndrome, to be honest, of who am I to launch an AI bot,
Yes.
right?
Right.
But I did. And I launched the first one and I said, if it goes well, in 6 months, I will think about creating the suite of bots that replicates the brand strategy process that I bring my clients through
Mm-hmm.
one-to-one. And
Right.
that's kind of where it all started for me.
Yeah. So it's a little similar to me. Because I had met you, I was encouraged to kind of go public. And because I had the offer confidence checklist, I thought, this is a framework I'm already like using. Let me just build a bot out of this, test it. It's free. and see like how well the market responds. And I had something then to offer in podcasts or in summits or whatever. And it worked. It's like by far my highest converting lead magnet I've ever had in almost 10 years of business. So I knew that it was going to work. And I got the idea from you like, okay, well, if she's building the brand force, I can take all of my frameworks that I use with my clients to build out their offers and build the same thing, the Offer Mojo Squad, right? Because for me, it was too just about like ease of delivery, like it's something like that helps me deliver faster. But I was also thinking about I wanted something that I know not everybody can afford one-on-one strategy. And even though that is by far, if you can do your work with a strategist, that's by far the best because the input that you would get from a strategist is just so much different than generic AI. And I want to talk about that in a minute. But basically, what I did is I took my frameworks, which is basically covering the full life cycle of an offer from positioning to structuring to mapping your ecosystem, messaging for your offer, visibility, and ultimately building a sales page for your offer. But what I was thinking too was I want to be able to bring my expertise and my frameworks and the work that I do with my clients to someone that can't necessarily afford one-on-one strategy. I wanted to give them a tool or tools that would help them build offers the right way. And so that's why a big reason why I built the Offer Mojo Squad. And now it literally powers like everything. It powers all of my offers. It powers my sprint offer. It powers the studio. It's just really, really powerful. I want to talk a little bit about, because I think this is important for people to understand, because what happened for Mallika and I both is we literally kind of finished our squads almost at the same time. We were launching almost simultaneously. We might have been a week or so behind each other. And interesting things happened during launch. And for any of you that listen to my podcast, I'm very honest, very transparent. And I've often even said in social media that the launch of the Offer Mojo Squad to my wait list went fairly well. I made back my profit, which, for a new offer, I felt pretty good about that. When I launched to my email list, I literally got 0 sales. And I have struggled since then to kind of like convert this offer. And I think that's because there's a lot of things going on. Is there something happening?
It's okay.
Okay, got it. All right. So anyway, let's talk about like the launch. When we first like brought this out to the world, I can guarantee you I am was I don't know about now, I haven't researched the market, but I guarantee you I was the first offer strategist to bring a suite of bots to the marketplace. And like you said, you were probably the first brand strategist to bring a suite of bots. What do you feel like when we launched? What was happening like at the time back in fall of 2025 and maybe even continues to happen today that gets in the way of someone seeing the value of this type of product?
Yeah, and I'm going to be just as transparent as you. So when a little backstory, when I launched Lumi, which was the single AI bot, it did well. But when I launched the brand Force, which are 5 AI bots, it didn't do as well. And I think people were getting more accustomed to AI, but there was still some fear around it. There was still
Sure.
some, I'm not sure how to use this. And do I want to invest in tools that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to use properly? Are they going to always be relevant, or is technology going to change?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to become irrelevant, right? So there was all of these questions that I think people had, because AI was a word that was thrown every day, everywhere, and still is. But
Mm-hmm.
to the normal person, the normal entrepreneur, yes, you're looking and you're using ChatGPT in however way you want, and you're maybe paying for the, premium $20 a month, but to pay for tools becomes another level, right? You don't know, even if it's a trusted strategist that has all of the experience, how is this going to work for you? So I've had a lot of people say, I bet they work well, but when I get them, I'm not going to know what to do with them. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm afraid to make this investment, even though it's a much smaller investment than hiring us one on one,
Sure.
that there's still a lot of unknowns, and there's
Yes.
still a lot of fears of, how am I going to use this? Where am I going to use this? Why am I going to use this? And almost people still want the hand holding of the human person to bring it through, which thank God they do,
Right.
because we still want to do that work. But
Yes. Mm-hmm.
people were not fully embracing AI, I think. I think it's taking time for people to understand the value and the
Yes.
potency and the power that it can bring. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you that I just recently did a new offer called the Brand Lab, which was part training and part demonstration of the AI tool that
Okay.
linked to the topic.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I sell this and it's been on the market, they were like, where can I buy this? And I'm like, it's been on the market. I've been talking about this for 6 months.
Right.
But the live demonstration of showing and walking someone through it,
Mm-hmm.
people still need that when it comes to AI and tech tools.
Yes.
And especially my market. My market, let's be honest, are midlife 40 and 50-year-old
Mm-hmm.
women, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not as savvy as the millennials or the 30-year-olds that just are born with this.
Sure.
So there is still an obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, we may have jumped headfirst into AI and did it, but it was painful, right? Even for
Yes.
us, it was painful. And
Like it literally
so,
took me 3 months to build and test the Offer Mojo Squad. So for anyone listening to think, oh, this is just generic AI, it's not. And here's something I want to talk about. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about my obstacles as well, because they're similar. But here's what I want to talk about. I think what people may not understand, and maybe they're starting to now, because I think more and more people are starting to create custom bots. And so, like, they're either doing like little lead magnet bots or little single bots. And so I think people are starting to experiment with them and go, oh, okay, these are actually kind of like easy to use, right? But I also think what's happening is that the of the people, there's a couple of camps. There's the camp of people that's like, no, on AI, right? Like they're not embracing it. They're like completely against it. Those people are just never going to experience the value of AI, right? Which is fine, because we all have our personal preferences on like what we want to use in our business and what we don't. Where I was going with this is that of the people that are embracing AI and starting to use AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, is they're typing into AI, help me plan my content for the month of April, and they get a certain thing, or help me build an offer. I want to build an offer that blah 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 blah. Help me, build the offer. And of course, ChatGPT and Claude are going to jump right in and help build the offer, right? I have a story about my own self. I wanted to refine one of my offers. I wanted to convert my offer power plan into Offer Mojo sprints, and I got lazy. I knew that I could go to Kate in my Offer Mojo squad and structure that offer like in about an hour, right? But I got lazy and I went into generic ChatGPT or Claude, I don't remember which one. And I just said, I want to refine my offer power plan. I wanted to blah, 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 right? And of course it spit out, information. And I started reading this and I'm like, this is crap. Like, this is not even good. Like, why am I even like going into generic AI when I have built frameworks to structure offers in my own like custom
Right.
AI? So I went in then to Kate and I refined the offer and it turned out 1,000 times better. I also had a client who purchased the Offer Mojo squad. She had outlined her offer and purchased the squad, ran through Kate. She's like, oh my God, the offer I created with Kate was 1,000 times better. Like, I just kept getting like Instagram messages, like over and over, like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, oh my God, Kate's making me charge more. I'm feeling nervous. Like, it was fun to like watch her experience. But what I want to say is, I think a lot of people are, putting things into AI. And yes, AI is going to get better and better and better and better, right? But the input that we put in to AI obviously affects the output.
That's right.
Which is why when there's custom tools that's built on an expert's frameworks, the output that you're going to get is far better than what you would get if you just type into the offer, help me build my brand. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's one of the things too that we are up against is people typing into AI. Maybe they've gotten as far as like learning how to prompt AI. They get information back. They feel full. We only know what we know. And so we don't know if the output we're getting is really good or not.
Well, I think it's building this awareness that good AI tools are programmed based on a system, a process, intellectual property, or a framework that person, that expert who built it, has proven. It's through years of experience and expertise of testing, right? So it's like buyer beware. When you are purchasing an AI tool, you want to make sure that the person who created it is telling you that this is based on their framework. Something proven that they've done time and time again, rinse and repeat, that they have, defined the right steps, and they can then put it into a context for the AI bot to follow. It is not just pulling stuff from wherever and giving you an answer that sometimes goes overboard or is too generic. It is something that has parameters and context and specificity and is focused. And that's the difference. That's the value that we are trying to educate our audience of. And I think I'm finding that people are getting it a little bit more because they have enough experience with generic prompting that is not producing what they want, and that frustration and the time suck that it produces. And then when they do try one of your bots or one of mine, they see immediately how much more powerful the outcome is, because the questions that are asked are different, and it's collaborative. It's not one-sided. And so that's the other thing I think people don't understand. These AI bots are programmed with real instructions. There are specific questions that we are telling the bot to ask so that the output that we've designed has the true value of what we want to give the user.
It's kind of like, having a brand strategist or an offer strategist in your back pocket that you're interacting with. Like, our bots are asking specific questions. And the other thing to know about these custom bots is they are trained on knowledge documents. Like mine have hundreds of pages of knowledge documents, like you said, with parameters, with like all kinds of things that it pushes back on, based on how I would be coaching and strategizing with my clients. So that I think explains some of the obstacles that we have faced. I want to transition and I want to talk about why it is so important to be embracing AI right now in your own offers and in the own back end processes of your business. Go ahead and add what thoughts you have about that, maybe how it's helped you, maybe how it's helped clients to have these types of tools in your pocket.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is efficiencies, right? Like where before you would spend so much time looking at a blank screen and starting over from scratch.
Right.
Now I have built bots that know my process, know the questions I'm going to ask, and can take all of the data, the answers that I give it, and produce the reports or produce the outputs so that it is rinse and repeat. So,
right.
Speed, efficiency, quality of output,
yes.
Customization to the client. I think all of these, if AI is used well, right?
Yes.
And if you're designing your AI tools on your own procedures and processes and, giving it again parameters, you are going to save yourself so much time and you can actually get more done for your clients, right?
Yes.
So the time you have with them, like I work with my clients in a 3-month container and I am taking them through my brand force bots. They might not know it or not, but I'm taking them through that to produce, their niche strategy, their personal brand statement, their messaging strategy, all of that, because it's foundational. But the speed that I can do it is beyond, it would have been months before. And now it's could be weeks, right?
Sure. Yes.
So, and they are happier with the output because it's on brand, because it's listening to their input. So I could be putting their transcript in. I could be putting in, the web copy that they already have, all of the brand assets that they have, I'm feeding into my AI tool. So the quality of the output is so much better.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I think people too also need to understand. Yes, you're getting the strategy. It's not I sometimes I guess I fear people think, oh my God, she uses AI. So she's not really an expert at what she does. She just puts things into AI. No, I know what to ask, right? To pull out the information that I know AI will need. And I also know enough about my expertise to be able to review output from AI and say, no, I don't agree with that. From a strategic standpoint, I don't agree with that. Let's shift that. So I feel like it also it almost amplifies our expertise, right? It, yes, speed, yes, efficiency. I think to myself, how the hell would I write all of these high level strategic documents and assets in the amount of time that I do if I didn't have AI? Or how would I write? I remember back in the days when I used to write blogs by hand. Now AI can take my podcast script that is my voice, my expertise, my teachings, and turn it into an AI search, optimized blog, for instance. So there's a lot. I know I'm starting to see with my clients, more and more of them are talking about, maybe I'll create an AI bot to help my clients with X, right? Or I just finished with a client and we created an AI lead magnet. And it was painful for her, right? Because she decided to do it on her own. But it turned out so nice. Like the experience of going through, she did like a client journey system scorecard. And, we like evaluated like a person's business on the 5 phases of the client journey that she goes through. And it just like, we mapped it all out and planned it all out strategically, came up with like the right questions, and it just turned out so nice. And like, even when I went through the experience myself to test it, I'm like, oh, dang, there's some gaps in my client journey systems that I need to be working on. So I want to encourage everyone to understand that I personally, and maybe, others disagree, I don't think AI is going anywhere. I feel like it's like the internet, it's like one day we were using encyclopedias for researching. And the next day it was the internet, right? And the internet has never gone away. And I'm old enough to remember the days when the internet came on board. I'm old enough to remember everyone freaking out and thinking that the computers couldn't handle changing from 1999 to 2000 and that the whole world was going to explode and shut down. We survived. And yeah, although there are pros and cons of AI, and yes, there's the dark side of AI that neither one of us embrace. So let's talk about the dark side, because I think it's very, very different to embrace AI and use AI for everything. And, I see some people saying, oh, fire your team, use AI instead. I'm like, ooh, whoa. And there's certain parts of AI that I don't even like agree with, like chatbots. Oh, just install AI agent in your website. Let them ask questions. Let the AI. No, like right. There is still a human element to business. Help me understand like how you like keep the human as an AI business leader.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scary parts of AI. I think, I have children who are graduating from college, and I know it's going to affect the job market, and I worry, are they going to get jobs? Are those jobs going to be replaced? So there is a scary and even dangerous side of AI. Yeah, but when I think about AI as helping me run my business better, I think of it as these assistants that we are training, right? We are training them in a certain way to do the blog post, to create the content plan. Right. But we are training them.
Yes.
Right. So there is a process. It's not just, again, going in with a random prompt. I am training them to write a specific blog post on a specific theme for that month. I am training them to create a report for my client call that I just had that hits all of these categories that I want to deliver. Right. So it is intentional. It is strategic. So I think that with that sort of mindset, I'm embracing AI. Right. Now, the human side of AI, I think, people used to say, aren't you afraid that your brand force is going to replace the work that you do? And I said, no, I think it's great to have a tool that people can afford, just like you, that's accessible. I think hopefully there'll always be a place, even as an AI leader, to have this human side of using these tools like I did in the brand lab in a live human interaction, showing people how to master the tool, because I'm the expert. I created the tool, and be able to bring them through it so that the output is even better. Right. Sure. And so I see that as marrying the technology with the human side, with the experience that I have, with the judgment that I have, with the strategy that my mind works, with me being able to connect the dots that bot can't do. They just can't. We can only train it to a certain amount, but that human element won't. Right now, I don't see it, because I think it's what we are bringing to the table along with the AI tool.
Yes. And I think there's a really important element as a strategist that still adds value from a humanitarian standpoint, and that is we are humans, hopefully with compassion, with empathy, with experience, with the ability to hold space for people. When you're using just AI, you're just talking to a robot. And yes, it attempts to calm you down and, like, oh, let's look at this from a different perspective, blah, blah, blah. But it's not the same. It's a robot talking to you. Okay. It doesn't have human emotion. Like when I'm working with my clients, we are like, a lot of the work that I am doing is very emotional. There is very deep reflective process to build offers based on your brilliance. And there's all kinds of imposter syndrome that comes up. There's all kinds of questions that come up, and there's doubt. I mean, I remember that after the first session with one of my current clients, she was like so frustrated because she couldn't like immediately think about like what she wanted her framework to look like, right? And she was like, that just makes me feel like I'm not cut out for this. I'm like, whoa, let's calm down. Like, no. Let's not go there. That's not what this is. This is just a messy part of creating offers. It's just, there is messiness in business. There's messiness in life, in humanity. And only humans are trained, good humans, that are trained in dealing with that. Not every human, but like, good humans are trained with that compassion and that empathy. And I don't think AI is going to replace that. And I think humans are always going to need that connection. They're always 100%. Going to need the human connection, the empathy, the compassion, the ability for someone to be there for them.
Right. And to feel seen, right?
Yeah.
AI doesn't make you really feel seen, to be heard, and to, like you said, hold that space where you feel safe. And sure, AI is great for brainstorming. I do a lot of that. I talk back and forth, but it does lack in critical thinking. Sometimes it's too much of a cheerleader, right? And that's where the real human component, where someone is going to call you out on an idea that isn't good, or going to push you from thinking too small, right? That is, you can't replace that either.
Yes.
So, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next, 2 to 5 years with AI. And I feel like we're swinging in one way, but I feel like it's going to come back in terms of like needing the human element to lead the AI in the best possible way.
Yes. I think what I want to talk with, because we're, it's getting a little long, but this is just such a good conversation. What I want to talk about now is, we've talked about the importance of like, using AI in your offers. I also want to highlight the more that you can build your back end business systems using AI, like the better. And I want to talk a little bit about like what I'm currently doing. And this will also lead into the conversation that I want to have about how we navigate this fast changing technology. It's like a year ago, everyone was so pro ChatGPT. Everyone loved ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is what our bots are all built on, because ChatGPT enables us to share public links. Well, now everyone's like, I hate ChatGPT. I'm shutting down ChatGPT. I'm moving to Claude. Claude is amazing. Or I'm using Gemini. Gemini is so much better, blah, 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 right? So as AI leaders, of course, we have to be able to navigate that shift, because I built my entire backend of my business in ChatGPT. All of my processes are driven by that. My offer mojo, like delivery of my offers, is driven by that. Now it's Claude. And to be honest with you, Claude is giving 1,000 times better output. I've tested both, and Claude is better. So now it's like I'm working with a developer to move everything over to Claude, build things as skills instead of custom GPTs, but also dealing with, okay, how are we now going to like do the Offer Mojo Squad or the brand force? So there's a lot. Yeah. And the other thing, because I'm working with this developer, one of the things that he said, and I think this is really important to note, is you cannot be tied to a tool because the tools are going to be like changing so fast. He said, what's important is that you have all of your knowledge and all of your instructions like built that can be and stored, in your drive so that it can be easily transferred to like another tool as things pop up. And we have to be like willing to like continue to use these tools and know, oh, wow, like AI's changed a lot. This skill or GPT or whatever needs to be updated because it's not working as well. Right? Tell me, I guess, a little bit about how you are currently navigating all of these different platforms popping up in this kind of anti-ChatGPT wave.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary because you did a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to create this product, and it's all on one platform.
Yes.
And, I had a few people ask me, am I shifting to Claude? Am I moving to Claude? And I actually said I am pausing because things change so quickly that I'm afraid if I pull the trigger now, people might be anti-Claude in 2 months. We don't know, right? So, and then I think an important question is, where is my audience? What are they using? What do they feel most comfortable using? Because it doesn't, if I move to Claude and they don't have Claude or don't want to pay for Claude, then what good is that for the tool, right? They're not going to use it.
Right.
So I'm actually just waiting to see how things are going to fall. I said I was going to give myself, 4 months before I make any big changes. And it's not that I'm ignoring it. I hear it. I see it. I know the values of why people are shifting. I get it. I'm not ignoring it. And it's not that I'm aligned one way or another. I just know that technology changes so fast.
Right.
And I just want to see what happens before I invest time, money, and skills to make the change. Me personally, that is the way that I am reacting. And I also know, after doing some research, where my audience is. They are still on ChatGPT.
Got it. Okay.
So
how did you, I'm curious how you did that research.
Well, in my, one of my brand labs that I just had, everyone had ChatGPT. That was easy for them to use that. When I'm networking, I'm asking, because I'm talking about what I have, what tools do you have? Are you shifting? And most people have ChatGPT. So, even I know the power of Claude, but I just was like, I'm using ChatGPT. I pay the $20. I'm not paying for 2 right now. So I'm just wanting to see how it pans out before I make any drastic moves, because then I'm just afraid, like, what if I move and then something changes and then there's a new technology that's introduced, right? Because things are happening so rapidly.
There will be. Right.
Yes, there will be. And you know what? To be in this industry, like, again, we are not tech people. We're not programmers. We are strategists that saw an opportunity to leverage a technology to make our work and our business run faster and better. Okay. And so it could be in 2 years that ChatGPT becomes irrelevant. And then I have these tools. But guess what? That happens all the time in online. Look at people who have modules and video. It is a decline. No one is using that type of format to learn anymore. So this is what happens when you are an online entrepreneur and you're using tools that are always changing. So I remind myself of that too. because we took a risk to do this, you know, and we learned something new and we created something. But I think that also says a lot about us as strategists, that we are trying to embrace tools to make the process and make the work better. And even when that technology changes, we're still going to try our best to have the tools that our audience needs in the best possible way.
Right. Yeah. And I think I'm similar, except I have a little bit of a different approach in that I'm thinking to myself, okay, like what if somebody wanted to use my tool, but they don't like ChatGPT and they don't want to use ChatGPT? Can I make it available to them in another way? Like I've honestly even figured, like, have at times, not that I'm going down this road now, but at times thought, geez, like, do I need to pay for a programmer to like develop this so that it can be used on any tool? And I know that there's AI out there that can do that. I've looked at it. I don't really like it that much. But these are the kinds of things I think that is, as a, you know, as an AI leader, we're always thinking about. Like, I don't want to like exclude, if someone really loves Claude and they pay for Claude, I would love to be able to provide the Offer Mojo Squad to them. Or Gemini. Like, I know we can create gems, but it is a lot of work.
It is.
Okay. It's easier when yes, we have the knowledge files already, we have the instructions already, but it is still a lot of work to maintain a bunch of tools. And of course, you have to pay for those tools so that people on the outside can run that, you know, that suite of tools on your AI.
So it sounds like you have two options. People can, if you have ChatGPT, you have a link for that. And if you have Claude, you can use that for your suite.
Internally, yes.
Yeah.
Internally. Yeah. Again, I am newer to Claude. So I'm just now kind of migrating over there for my own personal business because I've found myself liking the results better of Claude. And so for me, it's, you know, it's not a political thing. It's like, what's going to give me the highest quality results and output? Like, that's what matters to me, is the best output.
And I bet if you told me and made the bold statement and be like, you're crazy not to check out Claude, right, in our next one-on-one coffee conversation, then maybe I would. But I would have to, but it's like a job, right? Then you have to do the research and you have to like figure out how to take those instructions and plug it in there. You have to test it again. But I'm giving it time, a little bit of time before I make any of those decisions.
Okay, I'll give you a little bit of time and then I'll tell you you're crazy for not checking it out. How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, is there like anything that we want to leave listeners with? Like, do you feel like, I feel like we've covered so much. I think the biggest takeaway that I want people to walk away with is to embrace AI from a human standpoint, and to allow it, build in processes with AI that will enable you to deliver offers faster, to be more efficient, to amplify your voice and your expertise. And yeah, don't be afraid to go down that lane, because I just don't think AI is going anywhere. And I think more and more and more, we are literally, I saw a LinkedIn post that showed like how many people like have like really started using AI, like compared to like the whole world. It is a teeny tiny percentage, but I think it's going to grow. Like, I really do. I think there's a lot of people. I happen to be around a lot of people who are in AI. So it feels like everybody's using AI, but
yes, it sure does feel like that.
Yeah, in reality, you know, compared to the whole world, like, no. And there's only a very, very small percentage that feel like they have really, I wouldn't use the word mastered, but are really using it really, really well in their business versus people who are just kind of starting to dabble and experiment with AI. And there is a big difference to someone who's just leaning full in, building all of their AI processes, and someone who's just using AI to prompt it,
Right.
and so forth. So,
Yeah.
what takeaway do you want listeners to walk away with?
Yeah, I would say that, there's no pressure to create an AI tool to sell. You and I
Sure.
did that, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say create the AI tool to run your business better. And
Mm-hmm.
if you already have a framework, you're already primed to
Sure.
create it. The
Yes.
framework, which you have years of experience of testing and doing,
Mm-hmm.
is the crux of
Right.
that AI tool.
Yes.
And it will just help you get the results faster. So if you have a framework, then just start by exploring how can you take that framework to create an internal process that helps you get your clients the results they need faster, helps you
Mm-hmm.
generate reports faster, helps you run your business more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Start there. And with all the time you're going to get back, which you will, because you and I got a lot of time back in my
Mm-hmm.
life. Then you might want to start exploring how can I create a tool, an AI tool that maybe is more forward facing that I can sell, that
Yeah.
leverages my expertise, that allows me to, be more accessible and
Mm-hmm.
scale my business at a
Yeah.
larger platform. But you don't
And I
have to
think,
start there. You can
yeah,
start with the internal.
I agree. I agree. The internal is always best because then it enables you to test it and see how it needs to be refined. I love to, when you start to go public, I love like testing it with a lead magnet.
Yes, that's
Um,
true. The freebie.
yeah, the freebie, it's like, you know,
Because you and I both have one. You have
yes,
yours and I have mine is called Snap. And it is gone are the days where people are doing quizzes or downloading a PDF,
yeah,
right?
you
That
can do
they're
an
going to
AI
print.
quiz. You can do the
Yeah.
same thing,
Yes.
with AI.
So
So,
something to think about. I've created a lot of those for my clients just because it
yes,
doesn't make sense to go in Canva and create and design something and pay someone and no one is ever going to download it.
right, right. Or if they do, they're not going to read it. Like, I can't even count the number of courses, like little mini courses that I thought, oh, yeah, this solves a problem that I have. Let me just download this. And I literally never watched them.
Right. Right.
But a GPT, I will use
Yeah.
it like that. Like
Yeah.
literally, like immediately I will use it. So anyway, this has been a great conversation. I will drop a link for anyone who is wanting to kind of rebrand or like really like brainstorm their brand. I'm going to drop a link to the brand force if you are wanting to create offers, and you want to test out a suite of offer assistants. I will also drop the link to the Offer Mojo Squad. They're both, I've tested the brand force. Mallika has tested the Offer Mojo Squad. We can both say, like, without a doubt, they're really good suites of tools.
Powerful.
So,
Yes.
yeah. Anyway, thank you, Mallika, for having this conversation with me. And yeah, I know we'll have many more conversations in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Okay.